this is where we get a little TMI. Do not freak out, please. Disclaimer, do not freak out. It will go back. Lightning crotch. Slowly separating like this. Pregnancy. Your body's just drunk on pregnancy. We're gonna talk about sex. What is wrong with me? Why do I feel like a teenager? Really, dude? Like, that's the last place I want you to touch me right now. Yes, you will have lots of sex dreams. Just things are going crazy. You're doing it right, girl. You're having a great pregnancy. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be sharing with y'all some of the weird, even TMI things or symptoms that happen when you're pregnant. I had a few people ask me about this. Since I am on my 4th pregnancy, I have gone through many of these symptoms and just downright weird things that happen. So if you're interested in this and either you're pregnant and you want to know what's coming up ahead, or maybe you're wanting to get pregnant, or maybe you're like me and you're on your 3rd or 4th child and new things are starting to happen that didn't happen in your other pregnancies and you're wondering if that is normal or not, then this video is for you. We will break down quite a few things. I'm going to start off this list with some of the stuff that is not as TMI, if you know what I mean. And then halfway through the list, we start jumping into some really weird, kind of gross things. If you're not into it, then maybe you might want to skip this video. But if you're cool with this and you can laugh along with me when we get to the weird stuff, then keep watching. Also, before we get started, I just want to shamelessly plug my channel. Make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new, I would love to have you here, especially if you're pregnant. Let me know down below in the comments where you're at in your pregnancy, and if it's your 1st, your 2nd, or your 3rd, or your 4th, 5th, 6th, any of those things. Let me know down below. I would love to get to know you. All right, y'all, let's jump right in. So, number 1 is your feet can grow bigger. Now, they're not gonna get humongous. There are a couple factors that go into this, like there are women that get preeclampsia, which a lot of that is fluid buildup, which obviously if you have fluid buildup, you will notice that your toes and your feet and your ankles all look the same size and they're super swollen. Now, if you don't have preeclampsia and you're just going through your regular pregnancy, your feet can grow up to a half size bigger. If you guys watched my 2nd trimester must-haves video, then you will know in there I showed y'all some shoes that I bought, some slide-on shoes, and I had to buy a half size bigger to make sure, for one, that it was easier for me to put them on without having to bend over, but number 2, because my feet are getting bigger. And the bigger you get into the 3rd trimester, your feet are gonna get swollen no matter what, just because you have more blood flow, because you are on your feet even just for a little bit. All that blood's gonna go down there and just puff those babies up. So just letting you know that, don't freak out if it happens to you. Usually your feet go back to normal after your baby's about 6 months old, maybe even earlier, so it won't be that big of a deal. But if it does happen to you, don't freak out, it is normal. Okay, moving on to number 2, heavy legs. Now, sometimes people call this elephant legs because you will feel like your legs are as heavy as stone. You will be trying to walk around and just feel like every step that you take and you try to bend your knees, it's like breaking something almost. Like you're trying to break your leg into that bent position just to get them to move forward. Even feeling like a throbbing feeling sensation in your legs. This is normal. It doesn't always happen to everybody. Sometimes it happens early on. Sometimes it doesn't happen till your 3rd trimester. It just depends on the person and the pregnancy, but it is normal. Now, the main cause of this is because when you are pregnant, you have a lot more blood flow going on, obviously, because you need to get the blood to the baby. The baby needs blood. It's just, we double up on everything when we're pregnant. So The blood flow is definitely a big factor in this, because if you are standing and gravity pulls the blood down, sometimes it's harder for the blood to circulate back up, which what ends up happening is like varicose veins, that kind of thing you might notice happen. I have gotten tons of those throughout my pregnancies, which does kind of suck because it's not something that just goes away. You do have to have surgeries for that. There are whole different things that you can do for that. But if you wear compression socks or leggings, stuff like that really does help. Even putting on some nice creams at night just to like lighten the feeling, making them feel tingly and cool, that really helps also. But I will say it is pretty annoying, and not only do they feel that way, but they will look that way. They will look swollen, and they will look like big old elephant legs. And I have that problem a lot. And that is one area in pregnancy that I hate, because I do love being pregnant and I love wearing all the cute clothes, but it being summertime and wearing shorts and stuff, I definitely don't like the way my legs look. You can see my varicose veins, you can see the bulging veins in my legs when I'm standing up. But I've gotten older and into my 4th pregnancy that to this point it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't look into it that much. I don't try to think about it too much. So number 3 is pregnancy congestion. So this is the feeling of not being able to breathe out of your nose and constantly feeling like you have tons of boogers in there that will not come out, or you feel like you need to blow your nose all the time because you can't breathe, and every time you blow your nose, nothing comes out. The reason being is the inside nasal cavity of our nose gets swollen. Why? I have no clue. I don't know why this happens to us. And the thing that sucks even worse than that is that it starts in the 1st trimester. So the minute you get pregnant, it could even be a symptom that you get that's telling you that you might be pregnant, which is so crazy. But for some reason, the nasal passage gets so swollen that it makes it feel like you cannot breathe. You will be a mouth breather for a while. Again, not fun, but I promise you it's normal. Now, some people can have it to an extreme, and obviously then you go to a doctor and figure out, you know, maybe you need some of the nose strips at night to help you breathe, or those like minty menthol. They look like little chapsticks to me, but you stick it up one nostril and breathe in, you know, to open it up. But the problem with that is that it's not a permanent fix. It will go back to being swollen. So that part definitely sucks, but it's normal. Okay, now number 4 is morning sickness. Why they call this morning sickness, I have no clue, because it is not just in the morning. If you have morning sickness, it will probably be all day long, or you may have it to where you only get it at night. So again, morning sickness, I don't know why. It should be called all day sickness, but it will start. Usually it starts in the 1st trimester. Most people go through the 1st trimester, and then by then they get into the 2nd trimester and they're able to get through it. I have had friends that have had morning sickness 1st, 2nd, and 3rd trimester up until they were having their baby, throwing up, all of those things. So it definitely can happen. Thank the Lord that so far, my 4th pregnancy, I have not had that problem. I have had really, really bad morning sickness. I've had to have medication for it before, but it did only last for that 1st trimester. Thank you. But there are definitely a lot of things that you can do for morning sickness over the counter first to try. And if you guys are looking for something like that, I will leave link down below and right here. My 1st trimester must-haves, where I show y'all everything that you're gonna need for morning sickness. I also added some of them into my 2nd trimester must-haves. So make sure you check out those videos if you're looking for some at-home remedies or over-the-counter remedies for morning sickness. Okay, moving on to number 5. This one is a little weird because it can be in different places of your body. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about hair. You will have hair growth, and you will have hair growth in all the places that you want, like on your head, for example. But the other places that you don't want hair growth, it will grow, and it will grow like crazy. It'll be thick, it'll be fast, it'll be long. So whether that's your armpits, your legs, your nether region, it will also be your belly and your back, and even on your face sometimes, which I don't know if that's rare or not. All I know is that I've never had that problem on my face, and I also have had friends that have never had that problem on their face. Now, we have all had it on our belly, and I have had friends that have had hairy backs, and I feel like that sounds so gross, and it's not like this, you know, woolly mammoth hairy back, but it does happen. And if you are naturally dark haired, if you don't have light hair or blonde hair naturally, then of course that hair is going to come in very dark. So it's up to you whether you want to get it waxed or not, or if you're cool with just leaving it. But I will say the biggest one that I've noticed of all my pregnancies and of other friends and people that have had this problem is mainly on your belly. So at first it'll be like peach fuzz, and eventually it will literally grow into long hairs. And sometimes, you know, that happy trail that men get, we will get that all the way down the middle of our bellies. Isn't that so nice? But if you are okay with shaving it or waxing it, that's definitely gonna help you out. Number 6, constipation is going to happen no matter what. And it can happen in your first trimester before you're barely even showing. So this is just your body is trying to get every single piece of nutrients out of your food as it can to help the baby grow, to give everything else to the baby. So what happens is your intestines and everything starts slowing down to be able to pull all that out of there. In turn makes you constipated. And even though usually people think, well, that doesn't happen till you're way bigger and the baby is just sitting on those intestines and not letting anything through and everything is just squished in there. Yes, it will get worse then, but it can start in your first trimester when the baby is this big. And it does suck. And again, if you guys want some remedies on that, I have the videos linked down below. I have plenty of stuff on there, so check those out. I have had constipation with every single one of my pregnancies. It always starts in the very beginning, and it's definitely my least favorite part of pregnancy, but it is manageable if you start using the products and doing the things that you need to do early on. And also making sure that you talk to your doctor about it. They will always help you with that. They know that that is a symptom that every single pregnant mama is going to get, and that every pregnant mama does not want to go through it. So they're going to try to help you as much as you can. But constipation will start early. And please do not feel like you're too embarrassed to talk about it, because every single one of us go through it, and your doctors know it, and your friends that are pregnant know it. So please don't ever feel embarrassed to bring that up. I used to think like just saying the word constipation was just so embarrassing and gross, and now I can just say it, constipation, constipation, constipation. I say it all the time, and it's like, it has like no meaning to me. Like, it doesn't make me feel any type of way. Maybe that's just because I've gone through it so many times, but it's just a natural part of pregnancy and something that you have to get through. And if you don't talk about it and you don't get the medications and the things that you need, it will make your pregnancy so unbearable and just not fun. And to me, the whole point of being pregnant, well, not the whole point, but during the pregnancy, you want to enjoy it. You want to take in every moment. So make sure, never feel embarrassed about talking about these weird, crazy, gross TMI things to your doctor or even to your close friends and family that could help you. Okay, now number 7, this one's kind of weird. It doesn't happen to everybody. Now, we all know we get weird cravings when you're pregnant. Everybody has heard about like, oh, pickles and ice cream and stuff like that. Yes, that will happen to an extent. You will have weird things that you've never wanted before that you want now, all of that. But there is another part of that that is very weird. And there is a lot of pregnant mamas out there that crave things that they not only have never had, but that they actually cannot have while pregnant. For example, cigarettes or alcohol. And I will be the first to say that I have craved tequila 3 out of my 4 pregnancies. And I like tequila. That's actually something that I would drink when I'm not pregnant. I'm not a drinker. I probably take a tequila shot like twice a year. But if I do drink, that's the drink that I would choose. And for some reason, when I get pregnant, I crave tequila. And so a lot of times, my doctor actually told me this, so don't freak out, people. But she said that what I should do is, if I'm with friends or my husband has the bottle of tequila, is to take it, sniff it until I feel that sensation go away. And I feel like that sounds crazy because people are like, but you're not ingesting it. Is it not the same thing? Like, is your brain? I'm guessing it's a brain thing. It's a mental thing, because that's what I do. And then the craving goes away. It doesn't go away for my whole pregnancy, because I will say there'll be another time that'll come around and I'll be like, all of a sudden I'll have this craving for tequila. But at the same time, if I smell it and if it's a tequila brand that I like, it makes me feel so much better. I feel like that sounds horrible, but it's true. I've heard of women, I heard this one girl said that she craved eating cigarettes, and that sounds crazy. She didn't want to smoke them. She wanted to eat the cigarette. Again, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's our bodies needing some type of nutrient. I don't know if it's a mind thing. I have no idea, y'all. But if you crave weird things, like things that you think, I can't tell anybody about this, just know that that is normal. Obviously, do not cave into your craving. Do not eat cigarettes. You're not supposed to be drinking alcohol, those kind of things. I've also heard people say they wanted to eat paper, just the most random stuff. Obviously, you don't want to give into that totally, but if it's something like something that I did, for example, if it's like a scent, something that has a really good smell to it, maybe if you can sniff it, it just sounds like I'm telling y'all to go sniff stuff. But if you can smell it or sniff it, usually that helps kind of like calm that craving down and you're good to go for a little while at least. Number 8 is sensitive teeth. Now, when you're pregnant, everything that is in you is being stripped from you and given to the baby. And I've been pregnant with 3 boys now and 1 girl. And I will tell you that when I was pregnant with my daughter is when a lot of this stuff happened times like 100. So I feel like maybe girls need more from their mamas than boys do. I don't know if that's, accurate or not. I did not look it up, so don't quote me on that. But I did notice that being pregnant with my daughter rather than my boys, she took way more from me. But sensitive teeth, which I'm actually going through right now, is a real thing. And your teeth can actually get cavities and all kinds of stuff happen to them. Even if you are really, really good at brushing and flossing and you've never had a problem in your life, and then all of a sudden you get pregnant and you get all these cavities, it's because your baby is taking everything from you and you have nothing left to protect your teeth. I have always been that way, never really had cavities. I eat a lot of sweets, and my husband would always be like, this isn't fair. You do all these things and I brush my teeth 4 times a day and I have horrible teeth and you have great teeth. And then I got pregnant with my daughter and now my 4th child, and my teeth kill me and my gums kill me every single day. Now, it didn't start in the first trimester. This started about halfway through my 2nd trimester, but my teeth are so sensitive to cold, to hot, to crunchy, to soft. I mean, it's crazy. Anything just bothers my teeth so bad. And not only that, my gums will throb. I could be asleep at night, passed out in the middle of the night, and wake up from feeling like my heartbeat is in my gums and in my teeth. Ugh. So that is something that is just very random. People don't tell you about that. Number 9 is pregnancy blues. I call these first trimester blues. I also have a video on this as well. I will leave link down below. It's a very raw video of me in my first trimester just talking about what was going on. And this has happened to me every single time. Now, I don't know if this happens to every pregnant woman, every pregnant person, woman. I don't know, y'all. I have had a lot of mamas that have watched that video message me and say, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. You know, I didn't ever heard about this, and I'm so glad I'm not alone, all of those things. So this is definitely something that I know other people have dealt with, as have I. I just don't know how common it is. But really all it is you will feel depressed your first trimester. And again, this isn't for everybody because some people don't, but you will have this overwhelming feeling of depression, and you will think, why? Because I'm happy about this pregnancy. It's an exciting time. Why would I be so upset? Why would I be so depressed? Well, number one is hormones. Duh. We have raging hormones going through our bodies, making a baby. Our bodies are making a baby, so we're exhausted. If you have other children and you're pregnant, then that just makes that even worse because you're having to take care of them and you still feel exhausted. And then if you have morning sickness on top of that, it just keeps piling on, y'all. You know what I mean? And so that's what ends up happening, and you end up feeling depressed. Now, I never felt so depressed to the point where, you know, I couldn't get out of bed every day, but the depression was real. And there were moments where I felt like a bad mom and a bad pregnant mama for feeling that way because I was pregnant and I was excited about that. So I just want you to know, if you are going through something like that, if you are feeling like your emotions are lower than what you expected, and you think, you know, I'm supposed to be this way, but I'm not feeling that way, know that you're not alone. But definitely make sure that you tell your doctor. There are things that they can give you and that they can help you with during that time. So make sure that you look into that. And again, like I said, I will leave my video down below. So if you want to watch that, maybe you can relate to some of the things that I was saying, and I would love to hear from you. I'm always here to talk if you guys need me, especially during this pregnancy journey. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to make videos on pregnancy, is because I want to be able to connect with other pregnant mamas like myself, even if it's your first, you know, or like your fifth or sixth, like I was saying before. So I feel like when you're pregnant, you need that community. You need those women to be able to lean on and to talk about things that you might be afraid to talk about with other people. And at least if you know somebody else has gone through it, it really helps you be able to get through it. So always remember that I'm here if you need it. Okay, number 10 is itchy legs. I feel like this sounds so crazy, but it's so true. You will get the itchiest legs, and I cannot remember the actual scientific name for why this happens. Oh, dang it, I should have written it down. Oh God. I should have written it down. But you will all of a sudden feel like you're just itching your legs constantly. I get it really bad around my calf area. And for a while I just thought like, oh, it's because I shaved and the hair is coming through, and sometimes when the hair is newly growing it could itch. No, it was all the time. Like no matter what happened, my legs were itching. And for me, I got to the point where they felt like so raw from me itching with my nails. What I started doing was taking an old brush, hairbrush, and like scraping it on my leg. I feel like that sounds so weird. It is weird. But that is what I would do to try to get it to calm down. And it always happens at nighttime. That is the worst time. Of course, you're ready to fall asleep, you're exhausted, and then all of a sudden your legs itch like crazy. And you itch, you know, a little bit here and there, and that just makes it worse. It makes it like, oh God, now everything's itching like crazy. And then if you go too far with it, now your legs are on fire, and now you really can't go to sleep. Yeah, that's about right. So if this is happening to you, please know it's normal. Okay, y'all, number 11 is you will have really bad cramping, or Charlie horses, as people like to call them. You will get them pretty much anywhere and everywhere. In your calves, you could get it in your toe, in your foot, in your hand, in your arm, in your butt, in your thigh. I don't know. Usually people say it's because you're not drinking enough water, and when you're pregnant you do need a lot of water, and obviously you're taking prenatals and you need, you know, magnesium and potassium and all of these things. So obviously make sure you're taking enough of that, but I actually get the worst Charlie horse inside underneath my kneecap. And it's in an area that you can't like rub out or touch from the outside of your body. Oh my gosh, y'all, it is the worst and it never fails. This happens to me every single pregnancy, no matter what. I could be asleep in my bed and I go to turn from one side to the other, and if my leg does something weird, all of a sudden the inside of my knee will start cramping up. Oh gosh, y'all, I wish I could explain it more in depth so y'all could understand. But if you've ever had a Charlie horse and you know what that feels like, think about that, but inside your knee, to the point where it's like inside of a joint somewhere that you cannot reach no matter what you do. And what I end up doing is just getting up and like walking around and bending my leg and straightening it and trying to get it to like work out of my body. Obviously drinking water. My husband has told me to like eat a teaspoon of mustard. He said that that helps with the cramping. Eventually it will go away. But I will say, if you start getting cramping and Charlie horses, that is normal. Don't know why all these things have to happen to us, but they do. So that is definitely one of them. All right, y'all, now we're getting into the part of the list that are a little bit more TMI. I'm kind of gonna go from like a level 1 TMI to like a level 10 TMI. So just be prepared and get ready. So number 12, this is when we start talking about nipples. Now you have heard, or I would hope that most of you have heard, that your nipples obviously do get bigger and they will get darker around the areola. That is mainly Mother Nature's way of getting your body ready for when baby comes. Because when baby comes, and if you are going to breastfeed, the baby cannot see your nipple. And so to find it, it's easier if it's darker, more contrasting colors. That is why they get bigger and darker. Some people, you know, they get just a little bit bigger. Some people, they get massively bigger. Some people only get a little bit darker, and some get like super, super dark. It just depends on the person, genetics, all of those things. But just know, if that's starting to happen to you, it is okay. There's nothing wrong with your body. And they will go back to normal after you're done breastfeeding. I promise you that. The only difference would be that maybe your nipple will not be as like perky or flat, but the areola will go back down after you've done breastfeeding. So since we've already talked about that, and most people know about that, so that's not really something that like nobody's ever told you. But I will say, piggybacking off of that, your nipples will itch like crazy. And because your boobs are growing and your nipples are growing, they are going to be sore. So when they start itching and you go, your instinct is to immediately go and itch it, it will hurt like hell, y'all. It is not fun to itch your nipple, especially when it's already in pain. So I have had to do like the hand movement like this, or taken like a towel and rubbed it on there. I usually, because they're so sore, I usually make sure that I'm always wearing, you know, some kind of soft bra or something that's holding them close to my body. But then again, when you do that, sometimes that can really make them itch. So it's just figuring out a way that you can get through these itchy nipples, itchy nipple phase, without hurting yourself. So that can be a little tricky, but I promise you can do it. But that definitely sucks. I don't like being itchy anyways. And then you added itchy legs and itchy nipples, and it's just not a good combo. The next two kind of go together with constipation. So the first one I'm going to talk about is, other than being constipated, you will be super gassy. You may have heard this before, that you will have more gas, but it will get to the point where you will think like, I literally just drank water and I had to burp like 10 times. I don't know why, y'all. The only thing that I can think of is that because everything is getting so smushed in there and like rearranged because of the baby, that as you're eating and your body is developing gas, I don't know why we make so much gas, but I do think that it's because there's no space left. And so it either is going to come up this way or it's going to come down the other way. So you're either going to be farting or you're going to be burping a lot. And a lot of girls don't like that. I actually don't really mind it very much. You know, I'm not out in public just like letting it rip and just burping it up. But at the same time, it's not something that I'm like super embarrassed about, that I wouldn't talk about it, you know. And some girls are weird about that. And if you are one of those girls, that's okay. I just want you to know that it will happen. And it will happen a lot. And then as you get further along in your pregnancy, it will happen even more. And there's no telling whether or not you're going to get more of burping or more of farting. It just depends on your body and even on what you ate or what you drink. Like I said, I literally drink a glass of water a night before I go to bed. And when I get in that bed, I feel so gassy. I can feel like the bubbles in my tummy. And next thing I know, I'm burping at least 3 or 4 times. And then in the morning, the first thing I feel like I have to do is fart. I feel like, oh my gosh. So that is something that is very normal. It will happen. Like I said, some girls only burp a lot and some girls may have both and some girls may just fart. And it's a bodily fluid. It's a bodily fluid. It's a natural part of our bodies, and especially being pregnant, so don't ever feel embarrassed about it. I promise you, it's okay. We're gonna be okay. We're still girls, and we're still girly and beautiful, so it's okay. Okay, so piggybacking off of those two, this is where we get a little TMI. You will feel a lot of pressure on your tailbone and your butthole, okay? I feel like people are weird about that word, butthole. But it's true. And again, because you're gonna have lots of gas and you're gonna be constipated. So what ends up happening is all that pressure on top of baby getting bigger and pushing down on that area. I had one pregnancy where my tailbone was throbbing for a week, and I didn't understand why, because it could be any time. Like I could be standing up, I didn't have to be sitting, and it would kill me. And then it got to the point where it started being like a sharp pain, and I didn't understand why, but it is because of the pressure. Everything is getting pushed down there with the baby, your organs, your poop, your everything is getting pushed down there. So your tailbone may feel just in pain and throbbing or swollen, but you will also feel that around your butthole, especially if you are really, really constipated. Now, if you've gone through constipation before, you would know this. But for the ones that have not, you will feel the worst pressure and the worst pain in and around your butthole. So just so you know, this is normal and this will happen. Usually if it gets to the point where you are just in so much pain, then that's obviously a sign that you need to get medical help for the constipation. But there are times where you may just have sensitive body. You may just have a sensitive body. You may just be more sensitive down there than you were before because you're pregnant. And so obviously there are certain things that you can do over the counter that will help. But you may have that sensation and that feeling throughout your whole pregnancy and up until you have the baby. So that is definitely TMI, but it will happen. All right, now that we've talked about our butts, we are now going to move on to our vaginas. So I have about 3 things that go on that I think most people don't hear about. They don't hear about it very often or at all. So is going to be that you will notice that your vagina will be bigger. And as you get further along in your pregnancy, it will feel bigger, because obviously if your belly's in the way, you can't really look down there, you know? It might be hard. I guess if you got a mirror, you could look. But again, TMI right here. So if you're not ready to listen, change the channel. But when you're going to the bathroom and you go to wipe, you might think, what the heck? Why does it feel so big or long or whatever? Because it is. And it's really just your body slowly, like throughout your pregnancy, it's obviously getting bigger and looser and wider and whatever else terminology you wanted to say to get ready for labor. Because obviously a baby needs to come through there, and a baby is not this big, it is this big. So that is why it's gonna feel like that, and it is actually going to be like that. Do not freak out, please. Disclaimer, do not freak out. It will go back. I promise you. I have had 3 babies so far, and my vagina has gone back to normal every single time. It is fine. So now number 4, I haven't had that one yet, so we'll hope that, you know, it does it again, but it will feel bigger. And I remember the first time that this happened to me, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, am I just like overthinking this, or is this really happening? And I get waxed. I've gotten waxed for like 10 years, I think now. And so I asked my now really great friend, I asked her, my waxer, I was like, does my vagina look bigger? And she was like, yes, it's definitely bigger. And then I don't mean to say it's bigger in a bad way. I feel like you say that and people think, oh God. No, it's just, God, I don't even know how to explain it, y'all. It just feels like longer and just wider. And I'm not talking about the lips and stuff. I'm just talking about the area around your lips just feels bigger. Vaginal discharge. We all get it. We all get it no matter what. But when you get pregnant, it becomes a lot, to the point where a lot of women will wear a maxi pad while they're pregnant because they will have to change their underwear so many times during the day. That has happened to me plenty of times. Sometimes I just change my underwear tons of times, and sometimes I will put a pad on, but it is normal. Now, the only reason it wouldn't be normal is if the color of your discharge is brown or red, or even green, I think is not good. But if it's white or clear or yellow, that is normal. And what this is your body's natural way of getting rid of any bad juju, any bad stuff that's in there that could harm the baby or give the baby an infection or any of that kind of stuff. So it's a really good thing that your body is doing this. So if you see it, and if you see a lot of it, it's okay. That doesn't mean that because you have a lot of it that your body is trying to get rid of an infection. It just means it's really, really cleaning your system out for the baby and making everything nice and perfect and homey for baby in there. But you will have a lot, and it can be, so this discharge, like I said, can be white, yellow, or clear. It can come out in clumps. Like, I'm talking big old clumps. It could be smaller pieces here and there. It could be a mixture of smaller and bigger pieces, and it will be very, very sticky. You probably have never had discharge like this before until you get pregnant. I at least have never had it like this before until I got pregnant. So it will be very sticky, and it is kind of annoying, but it will happen. Like I said, now if it becomes super watery, like it feels like water is just coming out and not a thicker discharge, then definitely go to your doctor immediately or go to the hospital immediately, because it could be the amniotic fluid leaking out, and that is not good. You do not want that. But thick, runny, sticky discharge is normal. So like I said earlier, you know, you may be cool with just changing your underwear a lot, or you might want to try using a maxi pad once or twice a day to just make sure that you're not having to change your underwear a lot, or even having to wash your underwear a lot. But that is something that will happen. And then as you get closer to giving birth, it actually you can actually get more discharge than you did the whole pregnancy. And again, it's just your body trying to get rid of any crap out there that's in there or that could possibly hurt or harm the baby. So it's a very good thing. Don't be grossed out about it. I promise you, you're doing good. Okay, so moving on to the next one is you will have this thing called lightning crotch. And lightning crotch is when your pubic bone is separating. And so it is slowly separating like this until you go into labor. And then when you go into labor, it's open so that the baby can pass through. Now, it's supposed to only happen closer to when you go into labor. But if you were like me, and I've heard of very many other women that do this, that this happens to them, you will get it in your first trimester or even your second trimester. So it can happen early on. It could not happen at all for you, which would be great because I do not wish this on anyone. But lightning crotch is horrible and it hurts so bad. So when this first started happening to me, I did not understand what was going on. I just remember thinking, when I get up to walk, it literally feels like somebody's ripping one leg this way and the other leg that way and just pulling my vagina and my pubic bone, my pelvis apart. And it really is probably, other than like the back pain that I've gotten when I was pregnant, or when I am pregnant, that one is definitely the worst. And what makes it even more worse, at least for me, is that I like, see, I'm burping already and I haven't even ate or drank anything. Pregnancy. But I like to sit Indian style. I'm actually sitting Indian style right now. And that's probably not the best thing because if it's already slowly being pulled apart naturally, then sitting like this, open leg, is just making it pull apart even more. So when I go to stand up from this, it'll probably take me a minute to be able to walk forward without feeling pain or feeling like my leg is gonna give out or my pelvis is gonna give out. So I did look it up. This was like in my second pregnancy, and I can't remember again the scientific name, but they give it the name lightning crotch, which is a lot easier to remember. But our bodies are already producing this hormone to relax everything, getting it ready for pregnancy, getting it ready to like move and open so that as your belly is growing, there's room for baby, and you know, your bones, everything's just flimsy and da da da. It's like drunk. Your body's just drunk on pregnancy. But that alone is already making everything just relaxed and opening and all of that. And then when this process happens during getting closer to labor, of course, that's when it's supposed to happen, then that's okay. But a lot of women have had it happen early on, as have I, and it sucks. And there's nothing that we can do about it. There is no, cure or fix that will help you. You just have to deal with it until you have the baby. They say there are, pelvic floor exercises that you can do to try to strengthen the muscle around there. So at least that way you're kind of holding everything together and hopefully it's not feeling like it's being ripped apart. But I will tell you, I have done it all and it still feels like it's being ripped apart. So that part is definitely not fun. But if you are having that kind of sensation that you're down there is either on fire or feeling like you're getting these like sharp pains that go up, or feeling like literally somebody is ripping you from one side to the other down there, that is what it is. I'm sorry, y'all, but it happens. Okay, y'all, we're getting closer to the end of my list here. These next two are about sex. Okay, we're gonna talk about sex. Hopefully you know what sex is. I would think you would, because you're pregnant, then you know what it is. And even though to some this may be some TMI stuff, I kind of feel like we're all adults here, right? We all got pregnant. Obviously we're adults and we know what happens. The first one is going to be your sex drive. You will go through changes. And I have noticed when I'm pregnant with boys, I usually have a higher sex drive than when I'm pregnant with my daughter. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe because my body has more testosterone in it from being pregnant with a boy. I have no idea, y'all. But I think that just depends. I'm just going off of what I experienced. I don't think that that is just like, you know, oh, you're pregnant with a boy, then you have a high sex drive. Oh, you're pregnant with a girl and you don't. Because I think everybody is different. But I will say that it can also change throughout your trimesters. So your first trimester, you may be super horny all the time. You may just constantly just feeling like, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel like a teenager? Like wanting to just jump on my husband all the time. And then again, you could go into your second trimester and all of a sudden the roles are reversed and it's flipped. You're totally not on board. And a lot of that obviously comes down to, you know, your belly's getting bigger. For one, you may not feel as sexy or cute or pretty. Number two, it just may be so uncomfortable to whether you're laying on the bed or doing certain positions that the tummy just feels heavy and you just feel so uncomfortable. And obviously that's not going to make you want to be in the mood to do the dirty. So you will be horny all the time. You'll be wanting to have sex with your husband, your significant other all the time. And they will probably love that. Or you will be the opposite and you will not want them to touch you. You will say, you know, they come up, and of course, I feel like all guys do this, especially when you're pregnant and your boobs are growing. So the first thing they go for are your boobs, which are already sore and hurting and itchy and all of those things. And it's like, really, dude, like that's the last place I want you to touch me right now. So if that's you, just make sure that you give your hubby a little hint, hint. Please do not touch my boobs or my nipples, please, or I will hurt you. Just make sure that you talk to your partner and let them know what's going on. You don't want to be in pain and they don't want to hurt you either. They're just trying to do whatever it is that you want. So if you are all about it, go for it, girl. It is all healthy. You are not going to harm the baby. Sex does not hurt the baby at all. I don't care who your man is, they cannot reach the baby, okay? So you guys have your fun, do your thing, and remember there's plenty of different positions to try. There's books out there that you can get. I mean, you can Google it, you could Pinterest it. There's tons of different things. So as you get bigger, you will know your body and you will know exactly the way that you feel most comfortable doing this with your partner. Sometimes people lay on their side. Some people, especially as you get bigger, you're definitely not going to be one to lay on your back because that cuts off the blood flow to the baby, which will cut off your air supply. So you won't be able to breathe. And then obviously baby will not be having a good time. So sex is either going to become a big part of your pregnancy or it's going to be not at all. And if it is not at all, just make sure that you're talking to your partner and letting them know why, because you don't want them to think, you know, or them to start thinking there's something wrong with them or you don't like them, you know, all of those things. We're human and those things go through our brains. So just make sure that you're telling your partner, you know, that, hey, this is just how I'm feeling. I'm uncomfortable. Like, I just don't want to do any of those things right now. Just so you know, it's not you, it's me. Okay, moving on to the other sex thing. Vivid dreams, y'all. Your dreams will be so vivid and so real and very, very weird. You are gonna have the most random weird dreams you have ever had in your life. I don't know why this happens when you're pregnant, but the next thing about having a weird dream is that you will be having lots of sex dreams. just crazy stuff, y'all. You may even have sex dreams doing things or watching things, or something was going to be going on that you would never do in real life. I don't know why, you know, a lot of people say, oh, your dreams mean something, and they may, but I feel like when you're pregnant, it's just, you have so many hormones and emotions going on throughout your body that, I mean, what else is your body going to do other than act like a teenager when it's got these raging hormones? So while you're asleep, you will have some vivid dreams, and yes, you will have lots of sex dreams. Don't think that's weird. I mean, maybe you already have a lot of sex dreams. I don't know. But for me personally, I notice that when I get pregnant, I always end up having, especially in that first trimester, of all the trimesters, the first trimester for sure, I have lots of like sex dreams and vivid dreams like that. Now, this is just a little add-on to that. If you are having a sex dream, there may come a time where you orgasm in your dream, and you will wake up and realize that it happened in real life while you were dreaming. I don't know how that happens. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know. But I do know that it has happened to myself, and it has happened to a lot of my friends that I've talked to about this. You could be, you know, dreaming your dream, doing the whole thing, and next thing you know, you wake up and you think, oh my gosh, did that just happen? And realize that it happened in real life. I'm not talking about the sex part or your partner or anything. They could be passed out next to you and you will orgasm in real life. And again, I think this is just because we have so many hormones in our bodies and just things are going crazy. Hormones make you do crazy things. Like today is super hot and I'm wearing a cardigan. Why? Because I feel cold. Like I'm pregnant, okay? We're hot, we're cold, we're horny, we're not. I mean, I don't know, y'all. Who really knows why our bodies do what they do and why they're so different throughout different pregnancies, and why, I don't even, y'all, it's crazy the things that we go through in our bodies. But I just want y'all to know, if you are having these things happen, they are normal, okay? They are normal. You are not weird. You are not different. You are not alone. All of these things are normal. Always check with your doctor if you feel unsure about something, or if you feel like it's gone to the extreme and it's affecting your life. You always go to your doctor. But I just want y'all to know, from somebody that has gone through 4 pregnancies now, these are the things that have happened to me multiple times. Some pregnancies, you know, I had some happen and some didn't, and then other pregnancies the opposite happened. So I just want you to know that. And like I said, with all this TMI stuff, please don't be embarrassed. Please don't be embarrassed to talk about it with somebody if you feel the need to talk about it. Obviously, if you don't need to talk about it to anybody. Be your own little thing, your own little secret. But just know you're not alone and that it's not weird. And these things are gonna happen because our bodies are amazing and they're making these little miracles inside of us. And sometimes it takes so much work that we have all these other things happen to us, okay? But just so y'all know, don't forget, if you have a crazy sex dream and you wake up and you realize that you orgasmed in real life, you're doing it right, girl. I'm just kidding. You're having a great pregnancy. All right, y'all. Well, that concludes my weird TMI, sometimes gross pregnancy things or symptoms. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you laughed along with me for some of these weird ones. But if you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Again, I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much to all the people who have subscribed so far. I appreciate y'all so much. For my little Soul Tribe mamas out there and my little YouTube channel, thank you. So I will see y'all next time. Bye.